Hey, welcome to the Crazy Jerry Podcast Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is time to do a little podcast, some sports talk of the weekend and what's going on. I have to start with this legendary coach, Lou Holtz. And Lou Holtz just passed away. I was a very young lad or kid when Lou Holtz was the coach of Notre Dame. Uh, this is a guy that just, he was always there when I was a little kid with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame, I didn't realize wasn't that great of a team until Lou Holtz came back or came to the team. So they won a national championship. They went undefeated that year. So that is something that I just like. It was cool to live through that because we had that arch rivalry between Michigan, Ohio State, sometimes Michigan and Notre Dame. Everyone knows that USC and Notre Dame is their uh, their main rivalry, but we played Notre Dame year after year. And it's really unfortunate that we don't play Notre Dame as much as we should. I think that's one of those games that should come back. And I know that probably won't because we have 18 teams in the Big Ten. But this is a time to give some respect to Lou Holtz. And I just want to go through this little bit of a section with him. One of my favorite quotes about Lou Holtz is actually uh, the way that you motivate a football team is to eliminate uh, the unmotivated ones, and that's true in life, don't you think? If you want to be successful, you have to surround yourself about people who are actually going to be motivated with their life and doing things that really matter. And it doesn't mean it's just football, but let's just keep it in football perspective. Let's do this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about, for example, Alex Azaloni, a former Detroit Lions linebacker, is now signed with Tampa Bay, and maybe he lost his motivation. Maybe he lost his spot to Jack Campbell. I don't know, but you could tell even from last year, coming off from the Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears, that he wasn't really there with it mentally and physically. And there was word that he was going to go with the Jets. Another guy that you wanted to really talk about is David Montgomery of Detroit. Not really motivated to be in Detroit, so you have to get rid of the guy. And this is a good example of a Lou Holtz uh, quote that some guys just kind of wear out their welcome, and it's time to move on. And let's just keep it real, folks. Let's just keep things real. Uh, I, I I think this is fascinating for Lou Holtz that he coached with Williams and Mary uh, in 1969 to 1970, North Carolina State in 1972 to 1978, 75. He was actually that team actually won the ACC championship in 1973. Fun fact here, ladies and gentlemen, New York Jets. He was a head coach of that, and you know what? It didn't work out for him, and he said God did not uh, have Lou Holtz coach a professional team, and that's kind of true. I kind of paralyzed that of that quote in itself. Uh, and then he went to University of Arkansas from 1978 to 1983. He beat Oklahoma State. They were about to win another national championship. They were probably going to win their fourth national championship, but with Barry Switzer. But Lou Holtz put a halt to that in the Orange Bowls, and that's a kind of that's something that a coach like that with a I don't know if a team like Arkansas, even from today or yesterday, would be considered a good team back then because who goes to Arkansas? Who comes out of Arkansas and makes it into the pros? Here's another little fun thing about Lou Holtz. He is the only head coach that's taken four different programs to the top 15 rankings, and I think he led all six of his teams that he coached to a bowl game. So this guy keeps kept making things happen and making the team motivated and just knew how to put teams together. And this is something that even with he went to after Arkansas, he went to Minnesota, and for some reason, as a Michigan guy, as a Michigan fan and all that, I should have kind of known that he went to the Big Ten, but it went right over my head. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe the big deal was when I was younger was that when Lou Holtz went to Notre Dame, that was huge. All right. Notre Dame did not have a good team. It was just flunking out everything. One of the coolest things that I think he did was take the name of the players in the back off the jerseys and make it a team effort, a team moment. And you know, who does that, right? What coach can go into a program like Notre Dame and just say, you know what? Let's take the names off. I know you all have names. I know most of you guys are trying to try and make it uh, to the pros, but let's keep it real. Let's be a team effort. And they won the national championship in 1988. It was just kind of cool to see that. One of the best things I ever seen was that uh, after coaching, he became an analyst with ESPN and CBS. He came out of retirement, actually, folks, and he actually uh, coached South Carolina, and he was one. It just amazes me that uh, in his first year with South Carolina, he was 0-11. You think it's over for him, right? And then he plugs it in 2000 and goes 8-4 in Outback Bowl and beats Ohio State. And Ohio State was pretty high ranking back then. So I mean, in the following year, 9-3, the Outback Bowl again, he beats Ohio State again. And who does that? Who beats Ohio State? I think that's the era with Coach Trussell. And Coach Trussell, given what you want to talk, he kind of, you know, updated the Big Ten to a certain extent. Do I? Of course, there was a lot of scandals going on with Ohio State paying players and all that. But to be honest with you, without Coach Trussell did update the Big Ten with his style of football. Uh, but that's kind of cool to see that we. I mean, you got to have some respect for this guy, Lou Holtz, because without a coach like that, we're losing guys like that. We're losing these coaches that stick to a team and makes them good. And you see a lot of these coaches today, they take one job and then take another job and then take another job. And 7 out of 9 coaching jobs that they had, they failed. Now, Lou Holtz could be comparable to like Phil Jackson from going from one team to the next and just winning championships. Or in this case, Lou Holtz went to a bunch of bowl games and were uh, putting teams in to be ranked. That's something that's amazing. I want to talk about the Michigan State Michigan game, and I tell you what, folks. I don't know who needs to hear it, but I think this is pretty cool that Michigan, from first time in 2014 or 13, that they beat Michigan on at home and in away in the same year, 80-90. It was a score. Um, Here's my take to it. I thought that in the first half, I thought that Michigan State was very motivated, very everything was going their way. That they were rebounding the basketball, they were hustling through the ball. I think that Michigan got lucky that even with that Ade Mara uh, getting those 2 fouls right away, didn't affect Michigan as much as we thought it would. To be honest with you, folks, if it wasn't for Yaxel Lemonberg with 27 points, uh, 5 for 6 for 3 pointers, and 6 for 6 for free throws. I mean, he kind of carried Michigan, and with Elliot Cadu, he only had 2 points, and this is kind of concerning to me. And going into the March Madness tournament stuff that Elliott can do, he has to come up with plays. He has to either give up the ball, pass the ball, create a better vision for himself to see what the court is. Because if it wasn't for Namari Burnett with 10 points, three out of eight field goals, two for four 3 pointers, and two for two free throws, and five rebounds, I mean, uh, Michigan really had the cast behind them. Even Morez Johnson Jr. came through with 18 points, 6 for 13 in field goals, uh, 5 for 7 free throws, and 1 for 3 for 3 pointers. And I wasn't expecting that either. So, even Gale Jr. had 15 points, 4 for 5 field goals, 7 for 8 for free throws. Michigan, you know, in the whole scheme of things, he went 26 for 29 with 90% of the free throws made. Uh, uh, Michigan State, let's look at what they did. Jackson Kohler, he came through for them. He was he was a hustle player. He did everything that he was told to do. He took open shots. He scored 23 points, 10 for 13, uh, 2 for 4 for 3 pointers, 8 rebounds. I mean, that's your Michigan State MVP right there, right? Um, I'm going to say something about Jeremy Fears Jr. He could be a very good player. He could be very good if he stops kicking people between the legs by the by the guy's junk. Um, I just think that this kid is just shooting the team in the foot. And one of the things that I didn't really like about this game was that the referees were calling the whistle left and right. And I know that they're with Fears Jr., he deserved that technical. And so did Ademara with that I don't know, that push of Cooper or Kohler. I don't know who he pushed after they made the basket in the second half, and that was a technical. So I think, yeah, I get it. It's a rivalry game. It's a hype game, but um, clearly Michigan had a better talent. I thought that Michigan State just didn't have enough shooters besides Fears Jr. Carson, Carson, uh, no, I mean Cohen Carr didn't show up at all. He only had 6 points, 3 for 8 for field goals, 0 for 3 for 3 pointers, 7 rebounds. Uh, I think, Lunenburg just took him out of the game, or even it's difficult to play against Lunenburg when he's going to take you outside and bring you back inside. It's just going to go everywhere. Uh, so that's something that I just think that Michigan State, they had their chance to take that game. They had their chance to. They were up by 5 a couple times, and they had the chance just to make that lead bigger because like Michigan was not scoring for a while. Lunenburg sat out for only 2.5 minutes, but I mean with Myra on the bench for fouls, I mean Carr should have been able to score some points, not just 6 points. I'm going to say Carson Cooper from Michigan State had 19 points, 8 for 14 field goals. So yeah, that was all right. 3 for 4 for free throws, one steal, one assist. So the bench part for Michigan State is probably what killed Michigan State. That's all I'm going to say. I would say this. I always give Izzo a lot of crap about him yelling and screaming and him running up down the court and yelling at the referees, and he's just scolding his own players during the timeouts. Just crazy, right? But you know what? In this game, he wasn't like that as much, and I just have more respect for that. And And that comment that he made after the game and says, "I don't know who was watching. I don't know why who wasn't watching this game, but uh, we're not little brother, and we didn't lose big as you guys thought." And I just think that just takes it, yeah, stick up for the guy, right? So as much as I give Izzo gibberish, I'm happy the way that he responded. He was kind of mellow. He was he was a gentleman, I would say, at this point. And that's really what I like about coaches. I mean, I get it. He probably reminds me of Chuck Daly of Detroit Pistons. And Chuck Daly had nice suits and he just running up down the court, yelling at the referees. But at a certain time, it was just like when Detroit was winning, he didn't have to yell as much because the fouls were being called for us, unless of course we were playing against Michael Jordan. But I'm going to talk about two stories about the NFL. This one, uh, this is amazing. This is just I don't know what's going on. This guy decides to go to sign with Kansas City Chiefs. He just wins the Super Bowl with Seattle Seahawks. And this is kind of a disgrace. I think this is a disgrace to football. And this is a disgrace to like teams setting that you have the MVP, Walker, and you take your MVP and then you ship your stuff to Kansas City. And you're just slapping the silly out of Seattle fan base. They were there behind your back the whole time. They were there. And I just think this is just not good for team effort. And this is a good example again with Lou Holtz. The best way to make a team better is to get rid of the guy who's unmotivated off the team. And maybe he is now the most unmotivated. And I'm telling you, if this is just about money, he's going to regret it because money can make you happy for a certain extent of time. You're not going to know the chemistry of this Kansas City Chiefs team. You're going to have this Travis Kelsey ego along with Mahomes' ego going on. And who knows? I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I mean, with Mahomes running with the football half the time, you know, that's going to disrupt Walker's game a little bit. And I get it. Sam Darnold might not be the best quarterback ever, but he proved to you guys that he is a good quarterback, a good enough quarterback to get you guys to win a Super Bowl. I mean, you could have just stayed with this team and made it a like a franchise tag. There's such a thing for football and just sat there for the next year and see how the team would have played. But this is really just garbage. I think, to me, I don't like this at all. I think this is such a just loyal to Seattle fan base. I think he's going to get booed, and some people are going to applaud him. But I think a lot of fan bases are going to boo him just because he just left for cash. Or I don't, just not right. I have to talk about Max Crosby and Detroit Lion fans or some of us are going to be sad and some of us are going to be happy and some of us like just get a bit confused. But really, you go and trade two draft picks in 26, 27 first round draft picks for this guy, for Max Crosby. He might be on beast mode, but let's be real. I mean, we already have Hutchinson and we already have a couple other guys and like Jack Campbell and linebacker. We all uh there Detroit has to find a couple of new guys. I mean, we signed a couple guys for the offensive line. I know we did. We signed Cabe Mays for a 3-year contract for $25 million, $14 million guaranteed. So that's something that's and he's pretty good at what he's done with Carolina. So let's just be real. Larry Borum from Miami, we signed him. I don't know the contract. I would elaborate a little bit more about these uh, trades in itself as they come in through. for my Wednesday or Thursday episodes. But yeah, Max Crosby, it would have been fun to see him in Detroit, but I just don't see the practical behind it. I just don't. I see more. I see more of the idea of getting yourself a couple more offense linemen, maybe a drafted defensive end guy, another cornerback, because who knows what Detroit is going to do with Terry Arnold. He's he's in a bunch of hoo ha stuff. Hoo ha. Sound like Al Pacino. Hoo ha. What you going to do, right? I mean, Terry Arnold, you just totally messed up, what, for like 300, maybe $150 million. Should have put that on an insurance or on something, but that was bonkers to do that for. So there's my take, folks. I mean, I'm just going to keep it pace going. If you like the podcast, please follow Patreon, uh, $2 membership. I need just find a way, just not to make a living, just see how this stuff works. So I'd be much appreciative if you did that. Become a member. Follow me on YouTube, wherever you download my podcast, Apple, Spotify, anywhere, any podcast platform. I'm there for you. Peace and love. I will keep up pace with Detroit Pistons and the rest of the trades and free agency that's going on. But peace. I'm out of here, yo kids.